Okay, so if you've ever wondered how I mix my sound, I'm going to give you kind of a quick rundown. And I'm not a professional by any means, but this is the track that you just heard. This is my mixed down final version, and I just watched a lot of tutorial videos on sound mixing, and I've just done experimentation and made adjustments according to what sounded good to my ear anyways. So again, I'm not a professional by any means, but I do know what sounds good to me. And so in the song that you heard, there was actually 4 instruments. There was drums, there was bass guitar, there was rhythm guitar, and there was lead guitar. So drums, bass, rhythm, lead, 4. And you'll see here there's 6 tracks. And so what I've done is I've actually, here on the drum tracks, you can see my mouse cursor here, I doubled that track. And right here where the cursor is, I panned it 15% to the right. Now if you notice here, this is the rhythm guitar, and I panned it 15 to the left. And I also reduced the volume on each of those because I wanted it to be subtle. And so it kind of just gives it a wider, more panoramic sound. And if you're listening on computer monitors, you'll actually be able to hear what I did. So that's what I'll do. So I'm going to select this track. I'm going to delete it. All right, and I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to select the drum track. I'm going to delete it. And that is the original recording right there. Now you'll notice these grayed out areas, I did that for dramatic effect. I muted portions of the drums, I muted portions of this rhythm guitar here so you would hear more of the bass. And this area here is actually where I faded it. And I did it, you can't really see it right here, but I faded here also. And it just gives it more of a dramatic sound, if you will. And right here, this grayed out portion is actually before the lead actually started, I made some noise, so I muted that so you wouldn't hear the noise. But this is the drums. I just picked them out of the drum editor here, and I'll show you. Oh, hold on, let me pick this track. Okay, so I chose Rose Modern R&B, and Modern R&B, and the track of hers is Slow Jam, and I just really liked how that sounded. So I'm going to close that, and then all the guitar parts I just used empty tracks, and I used the effects off my HeadRush Pedal Board, and I created the audio for those. Now on this you can actually edit, and I'll do that real quick. I'll show you so you can kind of keep track of stuff. And that was the rhythm, and then this one here is bass. And then this one was lead. So that kind of just helps you keep track of things. And so what I do is, like I said, I'll take this, and this right here clones that track. Okay, so it's cloned. And so now I'll go here, and on my keyboard I'll press Command C, which is copy. Then this is important. You want to make sure your cursor is right there, and see that right there. It shows you that you snapped a grid. You're right on the grid. So I'll go here to this one, and I'll push Command V, and it copies it. All right, it doubles it. And like I said, I lowered the volume 2 decibels because I didn't want it to overpower everything. And then I'm going to pan this one, and I think I panned it right, 15%. Now I do something else on this, on the drums also. I'll add some effects to that one track, and it's just a rule of thumb kind of I found. I'll put 30 on that, and I'll put 20 on this one, or minus 20 decibels on that one, and on the room and the drive, and it just gives it more of a natural sound. All right, so I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to do the same thing on the rhythm. I'm going to clone that track, double it if you will. Come on, computer. All right. And then I'll Command C, copy, Command V, paste. And again, I'm going to reduce the decibels on this one too. And I'm going to pan this one left 15. Okay. So that's how I do that. Now there's another step to this as well, and let's see, I'll make sure I didn't change anything here. Okay, yeah, I didn't change anything on those. All right, so these lines right here, this is your mixer, and your final out, and you'll see these 3 blue plug-ins right here on this final strip. This is your stereo out. This is what the final product's going to sound like. And so I've already done this, but I want, for your benefit, I'm going to show you again. So on my compressor, I add just a little bit of compression. One is basically no compression, and I go about 1.5. I just want a little bit of compression to take the edge off. And if you notice right here on the input gain, -2 decibel, I did that because it was peaking slightly. And I don't know if you can hear that. Now what you don't want this to go above 3. Let me turn this down a little bit. You don't want that to go above 3. And so I'm looking here on my input gain if I'm peaking or not. And so that I was peaking, so I'm going to show you. I'll turn it back up to 0. See, it's peaking. So I'll turn it back down to 1.5 because I didn't want to take too much off of it. And so I adjusted this portion right here with this threshold. You can see how it moves the needle. So I put it right there because I don't want it to go above 3 on that. And then it quiets it down. So this right here is called makeup volume. And so I bumped that up just a little bit to give it a little extra loudness. Then on this limiter, I didn't ever want it to peak. So I reduced the output level so it'll never go above -5 decibels. It'll never peak out. And then I added a little bit right here. You can see it's peaking just a little bit right here. Just a little bit, but not enough to make it that much of a difference. And then of course I added channel EQ. And I just went with factory default. And that's good enough for me because again, I'm not a professional. So if you tap that, you'll see it never gets in the red. Although that looks in the red, that's the actual mix, but the output, you're not hearing all that peaking. And I lowered the entire volume of the whole track by ½ decibel. And so that's, in a nutshell, that's how I mix my sound. I'm going to stop this. All right, so that's how I mix my sound. And basically, the secret for me anyways is doubling tracks, panning left to right. Now the bass and the lead guitar are dynamic enough on their own that they didn't really need anything. Now sometimes I will double those too, depending on the mix. But on this one, it was kind of open. It had some breathing room, so you can really hear the bass and the lead guitar come through. So I didn't do that on those. But in a nutshell, that's how I do it, guys. And now following this, I'm gonna leave room for the track, so without my lead line on it. So if you want to jam on it, you can. And I invite anybody, anyone and everybody to jam on this if they'd like, see what they come up with. And anyways, I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope maybe you've learned something, and maybe you can tell me something in the comments if there's something that could maybe help me even. But this is how I do it, and it works for me so far. But I appreciate it. Listen to the following track, download it, and jam on it. All right. Catch you guys later.